So today we're going to learn about a mobile app called Pixlr. So it's a photo editing app that you can use to add in various effects. So over here in Pixlr, you can see that the first option you have over here is the camera. So if you were to tap on the camera, then you can actually open up the camera just like this. But I'm not going to use the camera right here, so I'm going to press the back button right over here. The other options you have are you can choose from the photos, from your gallery, you can go to collage and choose templates over there. So I'm going to go over here onto the photos right over here. Besides the camera, if I were to open up photos, you'll be able to see that I can access my photo library. So I'm going to select my photo library just like this. I'm going to select this picture, and this is what we're going to work with. So once I'm happy with the picture that I'm selected, I'm going to go on to the bottom left over here. On the bottom left, there's the briefcase-like icon right over here. And if I were to press it, you'll get options to edit your picture. So the first one that you get is crop. So crop allows you to crop down the picture. You can pinch out the cropping of your image just by using the finger just like this. So you can use two fingers to actually crop it in or out just like this. So you can select the original size, the 1x1, which is the square. You can also move the crop area left and right by dragging across with your finger, 4x3, and other aspect ratio of your choice, or your free size. So what you can do is you can actually tap on to the left corner and then just drag it according to the cropping area you want. In my case, I do not want to crop, so I'm going to press the X mark right over here and it'll go back. The other thing you have is to rotate this out. So you can straighten this out. You can just tap it with your finger left and right, and you can see that you can rotate the picture. The cropping happens automatically, and on the bottom you can see the slider where you can rotate it left and right according to your choice. You can flip it horizontally, you can flip it vertically, and you can rotate it around 90 degrees each, as you can see right here, to get the right angle. So depending on what you need, you can rotate this out and press the tick mark button right over here. But since I don't want to rotate, I'm going to press the cross mark right over here. The other option you have is the double exposure. So what double exposure does is it allows you to tap to add another photo from your gallery, and then it gives a double exposure effect right over here. So I'm going to select a photo just like this, and you can see that right now it's normal, but if I were to darken it, you can see that the double exposure actually happens like that. So there's the top picture, it removes out the white part. Multiply allows you to multiply it and darken out the picture. Color burn gives you a burning effect from the other picture. Lighten actually removes out the dark areas of the picture. As you can see, I can zoom in by pinching out my two fingers onto the screen, and you can arrange the picture out accordingly. So there are different options that you can choose from, and the intensity of the option, you can set it down from the slider right over here at the bottom. The difference similarly removes out the color just like that. In order to see the before and after, you can go on to the top right. There's this icon right here which shows before and after. But since I don't want any double exposure, I'm going to go over here onto the bottom left and press the cross button. So now let us go on to the adjustments. So adjustments has a lot of features. So first of all, you can work around with the exposure. Of course, to see the before and after, you go on to the top right. There's this icon to see the before and after. So exposure means the brightness. So if I were to increase this out, you can see that the picture is brighter. So if you want to brighten out a picture, simply increase the exposure just like this. So in my case, I don't want to brighten out it too much. So I'm going to go to temperature. So you can choose whether you want to make the picture warm or you want to make it more cool, just like this. So in my case, I'm going to make it a bit warm. So I'm going to move the slider a bit to the right. So it's always a good idea to not to move the sliders too much, because that might make the picture look very unnatural. So usually just a bit is enough. Contrast is the adjustment for black and white. So if I were to increase and decrease the contrast, you can see that you can increase and decrease the level of difference in brightness. The brightness allows you to brighten up a picture. It is simply like exposure itself. You go to vibrance. Vibrance works around with the weak colors and makes it pop up. So it only affects the weak areas right over here. Highlights control the bright areas like the sky. So if I were to bring it down, you can see that the bright areas are lower right here, while the dark stays as it is. So usually I like to bring the highlight slower to get in more details. After that is the saturation. The shadows. So shadows controls the dark areas. So if I were to bring it up, you can see that you get the details in the dark areas. So you start getting details. Then you come to saturation, which is the intensity of the color. So you can make it high or low just like this. And unlike vibrance, saturation affects both strong and weak colors. So usually I like the vibrance to be a bit up and saturation to a bit low so that it is balanced out. Then you have the lightness, which lets you increase and decrease the lights in the picture right over here. So then we have the hue, just like this, which changes the overall color range of the pictures, making it seem different. So you can see that you can entirely give a different effect to your picture. This is the before and after. But anyways, I'm going to keep it in default. So I'm going to keep it in the center itself. So maybe I want to get the natural color back just like this. Right? So once you decide that the settings are okay, so all of the settings are okay, you can press the tick mark right over here on the bottom right, and that effect has been applied. So you can also undo that out. So this is before, and if you were to redo it on the top right, you can see if you were to click on redo, you can see that that's the after. So you can undo it, redo it for the new effect. I'm going to keep the settings. So on the briefcase again, let us go for Autofix. So what Autofix does is it tries to find out whatever is wrong with the picture, tries to autofix it. This is before and after. So if you are happy with the result, you can just press the tick mark button on the bottom right. I'm going to go on to the briefcase again, and there's auto contrast over there. So if I were to go to auto contrast, it tries to work around with the contrast. Let's see the before and after. I think it does a pretty good job. So I'm going to press the tick mark button right here. So it automatically tries to adjust the contrast. Let me go to the briefcase again, and the other option you have is blur. So what blur allows is it allows to add in an effect just like this to blur out the picture. You can use the circular effect too. So what you can do is you can resize this. So you can take the outer edge right here. So you can expand that out to work around with the sharpness, and you can use the center icon right over here to move it around in places. The inner radius is the sharpness right there. So you can see that the inner radius is more like the sharp area, and the outer radius is where the blurriness starts from. So if you were to increase the difference between the inner radius and the outer radius, you can see that the sharpness is just gradual, just like that. So that is just the circular sharpness right over here. So you can decrease and increase the level of sharpness just by using the slider right here. The other type of blur that you can apply is linear. So this is more linear, where the outer layer is how you control the gradient of the sharpness, and the inner layer is how you control where the sharpness lies. There's the color boost option over here as well. So actually, if you are to increase the level of color boost, you can see that you can boost out the color right over here when you actually use the blur, just like this. So blur, I'm not going to add in anything right over here. So there's the color circular blur right there, linear, color boost, and so forth, just like that. Also, there's the glow option right over here. So if I were to increase this, you can see that the outer radius right here, there's a bit of a glow on those as well, along with the sharpness. But I don't want any of these effects. So you can see that this is before and after. I don't want any effects. So I'm going to just press the cross button right over here on bottom left. So the other option you have is the smoothing. So if I were to go on to the smoothing right now, you can see that the overall picture is sharp. But if I were to increase the level of smoothness, you can see that it tries to smoothen out the pictures. So it tries to remove out the textures. So this is before and after. But I do not want any smoothness, so I'm just going to press the cross button right over here. The other option here is sharpness. So if I were to increase the sharpness, you can see that the picture becomes much sharper right over here. So I want a little bit of sharpness, so I'm going to increase that out. And I can also work around with the radius. So I can go around here and work around with the radius of the sharpness, so that defines how much bigger the sharpness radius is. So you can see that before the sharpness is a bit low, and later the sharpness is a bit high. So I'm going to keep this setting. So I'm just going to press the tick mark button right over here, just like this. So I'm going to go to the briefcase again, and let's go to splash now. So if I were to go to splash, you can see that what it does is you can select a color range just like this, and it only displays that color. So you can increase the level of tolerance right here or decrease it. So you just want to show out green in one picture, then you can actually do that. You can also tint it out and change the color just like this to get various effects. So this is before and after. You can select out a color just like this. So I'm going to go around in maybe this spot, and you can see that that is how you can select ranges of areas and just increase the level of sharpness or tint from that section right over here. So I don't want this effect, I just want the regular effect right here. So I'm going to press the cross button. So that is what splash does. The other one is the heel. So I can actually zoom in by pinching my picture right over here, and over here there's the spot healing. Let's say I want to remove this area right here. So I'm going to go to my spot and then just tap onto the place, so you can see that it replaces it with grass. So that actually can be helpful. So to remove small details just like this. So I want to remove this bottle, so I'm going to just use my spot healing brush tool right here. Not the brush tool, but it is rather a spot tool. So you can see that as I tap it, it actually like just fades away just like that. So it tries to do something like fading right over here. So minor picture correction right over there. So I want to keep that setting in. And other thing that you can work with is the shade. So you can actually go over here and then you can tap it to actually brighten out some shade areas just like this, as you can see. So it brightens out the shaded areas, and shine allows you to shine the areas right over here from the section. So it allows you to remove the shine. So you can see that it removes the shine over here onto the areas right over here and makes it a bit darker just like this, as you can see. So you can reset this out as well. So you can go to the shade and shine, you can reset that out, and you can keep the options you want. So in my case, I do want the healing option. So I'm going to go on to the spot healing and I'm going to tap it over here. And then I'm going to remove this bottle. So I don't want the shine or the shade. So I just want these two options. So I'm going to keep it as it is. And I'm going to press the tick mark button right over here. So other option you get in the briefcase over here is, of course, the heel and finally the red eye. So if you have like an old picture where the red eyes are popping out. So this spot is red, as you can see. So I'm going to tap it onto that area and you can see that the red gets turned into black right here. So this works with the eyes as well. So you can go over here onto the side. There are some red spots, as you can see right here. But if I were to tap it, you can see that that is converted into black, just like that. So if you have red eye picture, then you can tap it on with this red eye tool right here, and you can decrease and increase the level of effect right over there, just like this. So increase the level of effect, tap it, so it's much more darker. Decrease the level of effect, tap it, it is more subtle, as you can see right here. So that is how you can control the red eye as well, and you can press the tick mark. But in my case, I don't have any red eye, so I'm going to press the cross mark right over here. So that's the tools right over there. The other tool that you have is the brush light tool right over here. So that's the briefcase. Let me just close this. The other tool is the brush light tool. So you can work around with the brightness brush. So you can go zoom around and then work around with your finger and draw it around, and you can see that you can work around with the brightness. You can decrease the level and increase the level of the size of the brush right here, and you can work around with the feather of the brush. It works same as the feather in the blur option. So you can go over here and then just go around and tap around just like this, and this is the eraser. It erases out the brush effect right over there. This one actually lets you brush it out, and the other icon is the eraser. It lets you erase out the brush. The intensity is the level of intensity you have in the brush, so you can make it really bright, as you can see, but if you were to decrease the intensity, it's a bit subtle. But I don't want to add any brush effects, so I'm going to press the cross mark right over here. The other option is the darkness. So it's the same, so you can increase and decrease the size, but if you were to paint it, it becomes darker. Feather lets you control around the feather of the picture right there, and intensity allows you to change the intensity of the brush right over here. So high intensity lets it be more darker, just like this. And eraser actually erases out all of the effects. So you can see the before and after. So I don't want any changes here, so I'm going to press the cross mark. The other one is pixelate. So you want to have an pixelation effect, you can actually draw out just like this. So you can increase the size of pixelation, you can work around with the feather, of course, and then change the level of pixelation gradient right there. And you can also work around with the cells. So you can decrease the level of cells or increase the level of cells. You can erase this out as well to remove the effect. I'm going to press the cross mark because I don't want to add it. And then you have doodle. So doodle allows you to actually draw out lines in the picture. So you can actually make the brush bigger or smaller, just like this. Feather allows you to make the brush softer, just like this. And color allows you to select the color of your choice. So you can use this color picker tool to actually pick the color you want, and then you can draw accordingly. Or you can go to color and then choose one of the color shades of your choice, and then choose the color shade right over there, and then start drawing it out. So you can see the before and after right then and there. Of course, the eraser tool erases it out, but I don't want it, so I'm going to press the cross mark right over here. After that is this one. So this is more like a filter. So you can choose the filter you want, something like this maybe, or you can choose, there are a lot of filters as you can see. So you can choose any one of the effects that you want, maybe something like this, and then increase and decrease the intensity. And if you want to keep it, you can press the check mark button right over here on the bottom right, or if not, just press the cross button right over here. The other option right here is the frame. So you can choose any frame to be added on the picture over there. So you can use something like this. So you can see that you can work around with the frames right here. You can flip around the frame, rotate around the frame, just like this, and you can increase and decrease the intensity of the frame according to what you like. So I'm just going to go over here, and you can see that you can add in frame if you like, just like this. So I'm just going to go over here. So I'm going to add in a frame like this, press the check mark right over here. On the bottom right, there's the text tool as well. So you can actually add in text as well. So I'm going to say something like garden. So I'm going to say something like garden right over here, and I'm going to press enter. There you go. So garden again, there you go. So I'm going to type in something like garden. I'm going to add in another word as beautiful as well. Right? And press next, and there you go. There's the text right over here. I can drag it around with my finger anywhere I want, just like this, and choose the font from right over here. If you had to go back onto the keyboard option, then you go back into editing right over here, but I'm going to go back, so because I don't want to do any changes. So you can change the type of the text right over here, or from the type of the text down button here. So you actually have to download that out in order for it to work. So I have one downloaded like this, so you can actually go over here and see it. If you want to download, you can just choose the font type you want and then click on download, and it'll start downloading the font for you, and you can choose the variation of the font that you want to use, just like that. So it is downloading, and over here, right, it's almost completed downloading, and it's downloaded. Now you can select the type of the font you want, and you can just keep it just like that. The other option over here is the color. So you can choose the color picker and choose the color from over here as well. So I'm going to go over here from the color picker and select the sky color right over here, so it's more into the picture. Let me just go over here, color picker, there you go. All right, so once you do that, you can keep this anywhere you want. I still don't like the color, so I'm going to take the color of the grass right here, just like this, and then change its brightness a bit higher, just like that. All right, and then finally you got the alignment right over here. So you can see that this is Garden Eden. Let me just bring this up right over here, and if I were to click on align, you can see that it is left align, center align, or right align, just like this, and you can keep it any way you want. So once you're happy with everything, you can just press the tick mark button right over here, and to save out the picture, you can press done right over here. And once you press done, you can save the image onto your gallery, and it'll let you choose a size. So I'm going to choose the max quality, and I'm going to press OK, and it'll save the picture onto my gallery after processing it out. So it takes a bit of time to actually process, and it's saved onto my gallery now, and that's it. So if you had to go over here onto any of the picture, you might be seeing this eraser icon right here. If you were to go to eraser in any of the icon itself, what you can do is you can draw it like a brush. Under any effect, you can actually go over here, like go under any effect right over here, like suppose for example splash, and you use this effect. Let's say for example on the tolerance, you go over here, use the tolerance right over here, and you add in an effect. You can go to the brush tool and actually erase everything out right here, or use the brush tool to get the effect back, just like that. So you can use this brush tool anywhere you like as well. So an option which gives you tremendous facilities just like that. So you can just press done and save it out. Let me just go back over here now. So I'm going to go back on the home right here. All the current edit will be lost. So I don't want to save this. I already saved mine. So I'm going to go back. So over here, the other option you have are the collages. So you can go over here, and then from the collage, you can go to your gallery, select a bunch of pictures, and press done, and you get a lot of collage options over here. So there's this collage option, this type of collage option, and whatever collage option you choose, you can go over here and then increase and decrease the size of the image differences, and you can go to the side and change the frame size as well. You can also go over here and change the aspect ratio of the collage that you make, and you can go over here and change the background color just like this as well. Once you're okay, you just press next, and no further editing can be done after this. And now you get back to all of these settings right over here, and you'll be able to apply all of the settings that we saw previously, like the splash and everything else. So you can go over here and you can see that you can apply it in all of the pictures just like this. I'm going to go back home, discard this out. Other thing that I have are the templates. So there are some templates that you can choose from. So let us go over here and choose one of the templates such as this, and it'll load. So once it loads, you can see that I can increase and decrease the size of the frame right here. I can press the plus icon and I can choose the picture I want. So I'm going to choose the garden picture right over here and move it a bit to the side. Maybe I want to zoom it in. I can do that by using a pinching option right over here. On the side, I can change the frame of the image, as you can see. And over here, I can change the aspect ratio of the overall design right over here, just like that as well. So I can go over here, change this out right over here. So increase, decrease the frame size and everything else just like that. So just like that, I can choose the frame that I want, and there you go. So once you do that, I can also go over here and then add in some colors. So that is to the background colors right over there. So if I were to actually go over here onto the frame, and if I were to increase, you can see on the bottom right hand side that there's the background color which is being affected just like that. So these are the settings that you can choose right over here. So you can choose any picture and then press done. It actually gets over here. You press next, press OK, and then you got all of the settings that we can work with just like this. You can use the smoothen out, you can use the sharpen, you can use the blur, the splash, and everything else. All of the effects are right over here. So that is how you can use the Pixlr app for Android. The effects and the way of working is same for iOS devices as well. So hope you guys learned something as always. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.